Go ahead, Mataji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all the Gurus, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, Guru Gauranga, Nandarani Kinkori Dasi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nandarani Kinkari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Ohio. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Vijay, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji,
Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, all glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksha Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anyone else in the call who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Nanda Priya Narmada Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devidasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Mataji, shall we do the recording, Mataji? Shall we start the recording and do introduction, I mean?
Okay, Mataji.
Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Keshavanand Prabhu on the call to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 10th chapter, 10th sloka. Before handing over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to ask Mitravinda Mamtamayi Mataji to give brief introduction about Prabhuji. Mataji, please take over the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dr. Keshavanand Prabhuji is a professional doctor and monk. Since the last 20 years, he has conducted extensive research and authored books in the field of science and spirituality. He feels the rift between science and spirituality must disappear to bring peace in the world. If spirituality is a superstition and a myth, science is materialistic and atheistic. A new approach to life is needed today that can bring the best of both. Science must re-embrace spirituality and be humble to admit its defect, flaws, ignorance, and spirituality must base itself on sound scientific and rational ideas. Dr. Keshavanand found this new approach in the Sanskrit sutras of Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita. For decoding Sanskrit sutras of the Vedas and Bhagavad Gita, he studied Sanskrit and Western and Indian philosophy. Besides Sanskrit, he also learned Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, and Kannada to know about other traditions too. And Prabhuji's persistent endeavor in the field of science and spirituality has enabled him to come up with seminars on diverse topics like science, Vedas, minds, and machines. Science fails to explain life, consciousness, and beyond, etc. He has presented those in various colleges in India, Europe, and America. Under the guidance of his spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, Prabhuji has started a Gurukul, a traditional Vedic system of Vedic education in Punjab, India, where children learn the ancient Vedic culture and values. Besides, he has started a farm community. The community has a traditional way of living with mud huts and thatched roofs with cows and, of course, farming. The communities will set a model for the world to show how to live a life based on simple living and high thinking. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the introduction. May I ask Tiffany Mataji, please take over the call and read the sloka, purport, and translation, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Stalyam Karshyam Vyadya Adayascha Kishut Tridbayam Kalir Icha Jaracha Nidra Ratir Manur Ahamada Sucho Dehena Datasyahi Mena Santi. And translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Fatness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for material possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion, and identification of the body with the self are all transformations of the material covering of the spirit soul. A person absorbed in the material bodily conception is affected by these things, but I am free from all bodily conceptions. Consequently, I am neither fat nor skinny nor anything else you have mentioned. And the purport. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Deha Smriti Nahi Yara Samsara Bandhana Kahantara. One who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. When one comes to the body when one comes to the understanding that he is not the body and therefore is neither fat nor skinny, attains the topmost form of spiritual realization. When one is not spiritually realized, the bodily conception entangles one in the material world. At the present moment, all human society is laboring under the bodily conception. Therefore, in the Shastras, people in this age are referred to as Dvipara Pashu, two-legged animals. No one can be happy in a civilization conducted by such animals. Our Krishna conscious movement is trying to raise fallen human society to the status of spiritual understanding. It is not possible for everyone to become immediately self-realized like Jada Bharat. However, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 18, Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By spreading the Bhagavata principles, we can raise human society to the platform of perfection. When one is not affected by the bodily conceptions, one can advance to the Lord's devotional service. Nastya prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavata uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. The more we advance our freedom from the bodily conception, the more we are fixed in devotional service, and the more we are happy and peaceful. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says that those who are too materially affected continue the bodily conception. Such persons are concerned with different bodily symptoms, whereas freed from bodily conception, lives without the body, even in material condition. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable association and time to enlighten us on the topic. Please take over the call, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let's see. My voice is clear to all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Prasthaya Nirvishesh Navadi Pashtadeshta. Okay, so we're going to discuss this topic, 5th canto, 10th chapter and 10th verse. I suppose that this verse is spoken by Jad Bharat to Rahugan Maharaj. That's what is happening. Okay, so this is Tholyam Karshayam Vyadhya Adhyascha Shutring Bhayam Kaliricha Jaracha Nidra Ratir Manyuraham Madaha Sucho Dehe Najatasya Hi Me Nasanti. So anyway, what is happening is Rahugan Maharaj, he met Jad Bharat and what translation to you? So Rahugan Maharaj, he met Jad Bharat, and Jad Bharat is Rahugan Maharaj, he spoke something. He actually condescended Jad Bharat, and he said, you are so weak. I mean to say, because Rahugan Maharaj was going in a palanquin, and he saw Jad Bharat sitting on the pathway, and he asked his people who were carrying the palanquin to actually include Jad Bharat in their party. So he was not walking properly. So Rahugan Maharaj, he scolded him. He said, you are skinny, you are weak, you have become old, but you look so stout and all these things. And at that point, Jad Bharat, he spoke back to Rahugan Maharaj. That's what is happening. He spoke this verse. Now what is happening is Srila Prabhupada brings the point of bodily concept of life here. Srila Prabhupada says in this purport that what Jad Bharat is arguing with Rahugan Maharaj, Jad Bharat is saying practically, you see, Rahugan, people are absorbed in bodily concept of life. But as far as I am concerned, I'm beyond bodily concept. That's the whole purport. And that's why Prabhupada starts in the Prabhupada says, Nortam Das Thakur has sung, Deha Smriti Nahi Jar Samsara Bandhan Kahata. People, if you're above bodily concept of life, then you are liberated. That's the whole point there. The whole story of Jad Bharat is about bodily concept of life. That's what Jad Bharat is symbolizing. The more you are out of bodily concept of life, the more you are liberated. Prabhupada says in the purport, the more you are out of bodily concept of life, the more you can advance in devotional service. It's as simple as that. And the more you advance in devotional service, the more you actually go beyond bodily concept of life. Srila Prabhupada said, so many times they asked Prabhupada, how do we know that we are advancing in devotional life? Prabhupada said, if you go beyond, the more you're beyond bodily concept of life, the more you advance. Simple. Because bodily concept of life and devotion do not go hands in hands. Now the question comes, what is bodily concept of life? That's a big question there. Because, see, the point is you have to first understand the problem. before you arrive at a solution. If you don't understand the problem, you will not arrive at a proper solution. That's common sense. So the problem is bodily concept of life. So to go beyond this problem, we have to understand what is bodily concept of life. And many devotees, many philosophers, many saints, if they do not achieve their goal, it's primarily because they do not understand what is bodily concept of life. Now, okay, so this whole talk is about bodily concept of life. By the way, what is it? Let's talk about that. So, because this verse is talking about that, I'll tell you how. But before I explain this verse, you have to understand the history of bodily concept of life. That's the important philosophy of bodily concept of life. Now, this bodily concept of life means what? Now, you see the point. Our soul has a particular tendency, which is called as interest. We all have interest in us, isn't it? Which is called ruchi. Ruchi is one of the what do I call? Yeah. So ruchi is one of ruchi is one of the tendency of soul. We get interested in whatever we encounter gradually. That's what happens to us, isn't it? So we encountered with this body when we became conditioned, and we became really interested in this, isn't it? So if we encounter some food, after some time we'll get interested in it. And that interest has many shades of obsession, addiction, you see, passion, but it's all interest. So soul, the tendency of the soul is to get interested in anything what it encounters with, sooner or later. See, many people around the world, they are interested in nice things, isn't it? So we encounter a beautiful thing, slowly we get interested in that. Or if you encounter an ugly thing, if you keep in contact with that, you will slowly get interested in that. So that's why it is said, if you have a bad company, you become bad. If you have good company, you become good, isn't it? Man is known by the company he keeps. If you are with bad people, you get interested in bad things. If you get good people, you get interested in good things. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his book, Tattva Vivek. Sorry, I think Tattva Vivek, or something like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this is a tendency of soul. It's simple as that. Soul is like a magnet. So anywhere a magnet encounters iron, it will attract. Soul, anything it encounters, it will get attracted to it. That's how the function, the tendency of soul is. Now the problem is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we are now encountering body and things related to this body, this material world. We are seeing this, we are hearing this, we are touching this, isn't it? So gradually we get interested in this material world and in this body. So if you get interested in the body and the actions of body, that is called bodily concept of life in one line. If you get interested in God and the actions of God, that is called spiritual concept of life. That is called transcendental concept of life, beyond body. That it's as simple as that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, why most of the people of this entire world are not interested in Krishna consciousness? That's the obvious question. Why people are not interested in Krishna consciousness? According to Prahlad, so what's that shlok which Prahlad Maharaj says? There's one more shlok. Yeah, this one. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishna Parata Satova. Matirna Krishna Parata Satova. Mitho avipattiyeta grihavritana adantavo bhir vijatam tamishram puna punascha charvita charvana. Famous verse Prabhupada used to quote Prabhupada's famous verse, Prabhupada's favorite verse, let us say like that. Prabhupada used to quote often in small books, in his big book again and again. So what Prahlad Maharaj is saying, why people are not interested in Krishna consciousness? According to analysis of Prahlad Maharaj, Matir na Krishna parata satova. If anybody else tries to explain you about God, parataha, anybody else, or if you try to explain yourself about God, Matir na Krishna parata satova, Prahlad Maharaj says it will not help you. Why? Because adanta go bhair vishatam vishram, people who are absorbed in bodily concept of life. People who are absorbed in bodily concept of life, they cannot by themselves get spiritual realization, or by contacting many other people. Swataha paratapa. So parata means you go and research philosophers with this and that, saints. You will never get interest in Krishna consciousness. The only way to get interest in Krishna consciousness is to listen about God from a proper source. Otherwise, you will not get interested. Why? Because the proper source will tell you about God in a proper manner, in a systematic, philosophical, and it will give you information about God. See, Prabhupada went to America. Prabhupada used to ask many philosophers, so do you know about God? So there are many recordings in LA, and with Prabhupada sitting in the garden, and there are many philosophers sitting. The Prabhupada said, do you know about God? Philosophers used to say, the philosopher said, yeah, we are trying to understand. Prabhupada says, then stop trying. We'll tell you what is God. Prabhupada said, we know God. So we know the name of God, we know the address of God, we know what God eats, we know how he plays, how he sits. Why do you want to experiment and research? We have the information. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur raises the same point. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, just by mental speculation, just by doing research, you can never get interested in God. You can get information about God, but you will not get interested in God. That's a different thing. Because that information will not be true information. That's the whole point. We just jumbled up information from here and there, speculated information. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, because we don't have realistic information about God, true, real information, that's why we are not getting interested in it. Simple. Right? So, but we have true and real information about this material world. We are seeing this material world, we are seeing our body, we are seeing the actions of people, so we are interested. Vedyam vastavam vastu atra shivadam. That's where Bhagavatam first verse, no, for not first verse. Second verse. Vedyam vastavam vastu atra shivadam. So as soon as you get in touch with reality, you will get interested in that. If you get in touch with illusion, you will not get interested in that. You will not get interested. Suppose I give you a Barbie doll. You will find it amusing, but after some time you lose interest. It's a Barbie doll. It's illusion, am I right? It's a doll. But suppose if I give you a beautiful girl, live, beautiful girl, then definitely you get interested in her. You'll fall in love with her. You'll not get bored. Because that's reality. Doll is illusion. So this, after all, if we think this material world and this body is reality, if we think like that, then we will get interested in this. Soul wants to get interested in reality. That's the nature of soul. Vedam Vastavam. Vastavam means reality. Because we think this is reality, this material world, this body, we get interested in this. But if some saint comes and tells us this is not reality, this is a Barbie doll. This whole world and these people are Barbie dolls. That's all. Their body is Barbie dolls. That's all. Real, if you want a real girl, that's there in spiritual world. Spiritual world is a real God. So then they tell, okay, reality is there and this God is reality, spiritual world is reality. Then slowly we get interested in that world. So the whole point I'm trying to tell is why bodily concept of life means when we are interested in this body and the actions of this body, why we are interested? Because we think this is reality. That is called bodily concept of life. In bodily concept of life, we think this is all in all. This body is reality. Whatever I'm doing, that is reality. This material world is reality, and this is it. And then we get interested. We develop habits. We develop passions. We develop addictions. We develop obsessions and maniac and psycho, and it keeps on going. So you see, that's bodily concept of life. So bodily concept of life is defined by interest. That's very important. So it's not that liberated souls do not eat. They do not sleep. They do not do work in this material world. They do the same things what we are doing. But their interest is not there in this. The interest is in spiritual world. And that's Prabhupada gives very famous example of that female with extramarital affair. A wife who is there in the house. She's serving the husband nicely and doing everything, but she's having an extramarital affair. Her whole mind is with the lover. And because and Prabhupada gives a very interesting insight into this. Prabhupada says, because she has extramarital affair, she'll be doing her duty more carefully. That's very interesting. She'll be doing her duty more carefully with the husband and with children, so that they don't come to know that she is having extramarital affair. Similarly, people who are interested in spiritual world, they'll be doing the duty more carefully in this material world. And then you might think, oh, these people are, he's liberated soul, but he's more interested in the body and this material world. No, we are not interested. We are doing our duties more carefully. That's the whole point. So everything is interest. You see that's the bodily concept of life is defined by interest in body and the actions of the body. And why we are having interest? Because we think this is reality. So that's what now. So now we come to this verse. Now you'll understand what's happening. Now what is happening in this verse is Jada Bharat is making 2 points here. The first point. So if you've understood what is bodily concept of life has 2 points, interest and reality. Am I right? So that's Jada Bharat is trying to negate these 2 points. Jada Bharat is saying, you see, dehe na jatasya hi me na santi. He may na santi. Jada Bharat is saying that actually, I don't think that the actions of this body, the actions of this mind are reality. The first point he's raising this point. Dehe na jatas. All these things what I have said, hunger, fear, disease, fatness, skinny, sleep, these are all functions of body. But I don't think it's real. He may na santi. This doesn't exist within me. The conception that this is reality doesn't exist. I know reality is soul. And this body and bodily actions are not reality. These are Barbie dolls. By saying this is not reality, it's not that it's not there. It's there, but it's all like a Barbie doll. It's temporary. That's it. It is all interactions of dead things. Nothing is life, isn't it? Nothing is living. It's all interactions of dead things. So it's like a Barbie doll. There's no life there. So that's the first point he's saying. I don't think this is reality. Second point he's making is, I don't have interest in all these things. Because it's not reality, I don't have interest in this. I don't have interest in the actions of body and body. I don't have interest. Now, he gives examples of bodily concept of life. So that's one point Jada Bharat is making. I don't think this is all reality, and that's why I don't have interest in this. I know I'm spirit soul. That's all. I'm self-realized. That's what basically Jad Bharat is saying. And that's the name Jad Bharat. Jad means what? Inert. So Jad doesn't mean. So Jad doesn't mean like a stone. Jad means inert. Of course, example is given like a stone. That means a stone doesn't have interest in anything. I mean, it's a stone. That's Jad Bharat. The whole teaching of Jad Bharat is don't be interested in bodily concept of life. That's the whole teaching. If you know Jad Bharat's story, if you don't know, that's the whole point. If you have understood, I should not be interested in bodily concept of life, we're gone. But now the whole point is, what is bodily concept of life? That's the whole point there. I just explained how we get into bodily concept of life. That's what I explained. How do you get into bodily concept of life? Because you think this is reality. And that's why you're interest in this, and that you're in bodily concept of life. But I didn't say what is bodily concept of life. So Jad Bharat is giving examples of bodily concept of life. Now, before I go into examples, I have to explain you one thing, which Prabhupada explains in Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called as Brahmapucham, which is called as Panchashikha or Panchakosh. These three words are used in Upanishad. Either you can call it as Brahmapucham. So bodily concept of life is explained by the concept of Brahmapucham. So Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad uses this word Brahmapucham, which Prabhupada speaks in Bhagavad Gita. Or, so another synonym of Brahmapucham is Panchakosh. Prabhupada says that in Gita also. Another name of Panchakosh is Panchashikha. Panchashikha, which Prabhupada speaks in Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto. I think Chitraketu says to Angira Rishi. Panchashikha, Prabhupada says in that 6th canto. So these are various terms used to explain what is bodily concept of life. Either Brahmapucham, Panchkosh, or Panchik. Prabhupada explains everything. So what is this? What is this? Who came up with this concept? First of all, who invented this concept? So let me not say invented, but who revealed this concept? So there was a sage by the name Panchikha. Prabhupada explains in Bhagavatam. In his purport, there was one sage, Panchikha, whose name is mentioned in Mahabharata Shantipad, chapter 218 and 219. His name comes Panchikha. This sage came in the lineage of Janak Maharaj, in the family lineage of Janak Maharaj, in Mithila. He was born in Mithila. And he came up with this concept of Panchkosh, Brahmapucham or Panchikha, to explain what is bodily concept of life, isn't it? So now I have to explain what is bodily concept of life. So he thought, okay, let's come up with this concept. So all the Sankhya philosophers, they consider Panchikha as one of the Acharya. So Panchikha is one of the Sankhya Acharya. So one is Kapil Muni, who is actually founder of Sankhya philosophy. But then one of the great Acharyas is Panchikha, which is mentioned in Mahabharata. So he came up with this concept of Panchkosh, Panchikha, Brahmapucham to explain what is bodily concept of life. So that it's clear, like this is bodily concept of life and I should not be interested in this. Okay, so he said that there are actually three, or let's say 4 levels of bodily concept of life. So we say Panchkosh, 5 levels. Out of this 5, 4 are bodily concept of life. The final level, 5th, is beyond bodily concept of life, which is our target. You understand? So what are these 4 levels? Now the 4 levels of bodily concept of life is first is gross, then subtle, then subtler, and then goes like that. So the grossest level of bodily concept of life is called as Annamaya consciousness. Annamaya consciousness. In that platform, so anyway, so before I explain what is this, Srimad Bhagavatam also points out that Annamaya is one of the name of Krishna. Annamaya is one of the name of Krishna. Ete Shodashakala Pumsam Manomaya Annamaya Amritamayo. So there is one verse which is glorifying deity, moon, the moon deity. There Prabhupada writes in the purport, Annamaya is one of the name of Krishna. Why? Because Krishna gives the potency of strength and nourishment and ojas and rasa in the fruits and vegetables and herbs. So the medicinal herbs, they work because of Krishna's blessings. The food nourishes because of Krishna's blessings. That's why he's called Annamaya. But anyway, I'm not talking about that. One of the names is Annamaya. So anyway, but Annamaya consciousness means where the person is absorbed, where the person is interested in food. Interest I'm talking, isn't it? Where the person is interested in food. For him, whole reality is food. For him, only food exists. There's nothing beyond food. He can't think anything beyond food. His whole life is just collecting food and eating food. That's Annamaya consciousness. Can you give one classical example of Annamaya consciousness? Classical example. What's that? What's that?
Baby. Children.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, babies. Yeah, babies. Yeah, Mataji's can tell. Always milk. That's all. Babies are generally dreaming of milk, you know. Yeah, they're mostly dreaming of milk, and that's why you see. So in sleep also they are like drinking milk. They might be in their dreams. They might be swimming in ocean of milk. milk. So babies are complete Annamaya. In fact, they are so absorbed in this Annamaya consciousness that whatever they encounter, they put it in their mouth. They think that it is a product to eat. So they see everything as food. They will see your iPhone as food. They will see. Yeah. Yeah, even the stool as food. Babies, you know, they pass their stool and then they put and then they lick it. Then they make their face. They're like this. So babies are in Annamaya consciousness, completely absorbed in Annamaya. You have a typical example of Annamaya consciousness, babies. Or maybe animals. What about animals? Animal kingdom is completely Annamaya consciousness. Always food. There's a searching for food, living for food, and they die for food. That's all. That's it. So that's Annamaya consciousness. Now, our whole human society is also in Annamaya consciousness. But baby is just Annamaya consciousness, isn't it? Baby is not beyond Annamaya consciousness. Right? So beyond Annamaya consciousness is Pranamaya, next level, deeper level. Then is Jnanamaya, then is Vijnanamaya, then is Anandamaya. So baby is just here. But as adult humans, we are in Annamaya, we are in Pranamaya, like most of us. But most of us in Kali Yuga, we are Shudras. Most of us are in Annamaya and Prana. Next level is Pranamaya. So Pranamaya means the soul is interested, the person is interested in their prana, in their life. So they want to preserve their life, struggle for existence. That's Pranamaya consciousness. Their whole aim is to survive. That's called survival instinct. You have heard about that? Survival instinct, struggle for existence. This is also found in animals. Animals also, they want to survive, isn't it? So that's why they defend themselves. Fear comes from survival instinct. I want to survive, so there's fear. Annamaya consciousness is to do with hunger and thirst, isn't it? Hunger and thirst, you satisfy you, okay. So Pranamaya consciousness to do with fear and fight fight and flight. Am I right? There's a phenomena, fight and flight phenomena. Science explains. So if you encounter a danger to a life, then there are two responses: either fight or flight or run away. There's two responses. That's all. So if a snake comes, either you will run away or you will just fight with it. That's all. There's no third response. Nothing. There can be third response. You can get stunned. You're not able to do anything. That's another thing. But most of it is fight and flight. So flight is fear or fight. Fight is fighting, violence. So violence and fear, pranamaya consciousness is the symptom of pranamaya consciousness is fight and fear. A person on this platform of consciousness. So how do you know a person is in pranamaya consciousness? How do you know a person is interested in survival instinct? His whole aim of life is to survive. Somehow in this society, in this material world, all his actions are geared towards surviving. So what is the symptom of pranamaya consciousness? Fear and violence. That's the symptom of pranamaya consciousness. What is the symptom of anamaya consciousness? So how do you know that a person is on anamaya consciousness? The symptom will be he'll be just be interested in quenching his hunger and thirst. That's all. Jivera lalsa jivitu tudhai. Krishnodar parayan Krishna kamuna. That's all. His whole interest is to quench his hunger and thirst. That's all. The whole day is doing that. His whole day is just eating, drinking. That's a symptom of anamaya consciousness. Symptom of anamaya consciousness is one more thing. So how do you know a person is in anamaya consciousness? Actually, no. Yeah. So a person in anamaya consciousness, he'll be thinking, now I'm eating too much, I'm becoming fat. All right. So I should go on dieting. I should become a little thin. But it's all to do with food. So he'll always be thinking about food. So all this industry, diet industry, healthy food, they're all at anamaya consciousness. They are bogus. Eat this, so you'll lose 5 kgs, or do this, so your waist will become like this, thin, or whatever it is. It's all anamaya consciousness. So all this whole food industry, all this ads and food. So take neem, so it improves your immunity. Take giloy, it improves your immunity. Take the superfoods and this and that. It's all anamaya consciousness. So anamaya consciousness to do also with person. The symptom of anamaya consciousness is that person will always be thinking about his body. I'm fat, I'm thin, my muscles and this, but everything is connected to food, isn't it? So that's also a symptom of anamaya consciousness. Okay, so pranamaya, anamaya. Now if you go little deeper, then comes jnanamaya consciousness. Now jnanamaya consciousness, so it is called manomaya or jnanamaya, both of them. Either it is called manomaya or soul jnanamaya. So manomaya is one of the names of Krishna. Why Krishna, one of the name of Krishna is manomaya? Because Krishna infuses, because Krishna inspires the desires of living entities. We have desires in our mind, but who inspires us to fulfill them? Krishna. From beginning. Uti, this is called Uti. Uti, in Sanskrit it is called Uti. You know this one? So you know this word Uti? Uti. So Uti comes in this. I never that in Sanskrit. So this comes there. Atra sarga visargascha. Atra sarga visargascha. What's that? Poshanam Utaya. Yeah, Utaya. It's called Utaya. Utaya means inspiration. So, so in second canto, 10 chapter, first few verses, where they're talking about 10 subjects of Bhagavatam, that word Utaya comes. So Prabhupada translated as impetus. Impetus for creation. Inspiration of creation. So that inspiration is given by Krishna, by God from within. So what I'm talking is here is Jnanamaya consciousness. Jnanamaya consciousness is called Manomaya. So one of the name of Krishna is Manomaya, because he is the Utaya, he is the inspirer from within. But anyway, I'm not talking about the name of Krishna. What I'm talking is Manomaya consciousness, one of the stage of bodily concept of life. At this stage, the person is interested into fulfilling his desires. You see, he's interested into fulfilling his desires. That's very interesting. Yeah, Manomaya, fulfilling his desires. So what is the symptom of at this stage? So how do we identify a person is Manomaya? Because he's interested in fulfilling desires, so he'll be doing many creativity. He'll be more creative, right? Arts, music, science, and all these things. People will be interested into all these things. Knowledge. That's why it's called as Jnanamaya stage. Jnanamaya means Jnana is taken by mind. Right? Mind is interested. So at this stage, person will be behind searching knowledge. By that he can understand. He is at Manomaya stage. He wants to do something. He wants to know something in this material. He's inquisitive. All right. So this is Manomaya stage. So these are artists, scientists, musicians, all right, engineers, all these. So all these are at Manomaya stage, Jnanamaya stage. So like that we can understand. So you see, so these people will be interested to fulfill their desires. These people will be interested into okay. So after this comes the stage of bodily concept, like the Jnanamaya consciousness, very deep level, difficult to capture. That even this is bodily concept of life. And Vijnanamaya stage are philosophers. So these philosophers are interested in understanding themselves. Me and mine. Who am I? That's where philosophy begins. Who am I? And they want to understand what is illusion, what is reality. Am I right? This is philosophy. What is reality? This is the ultimate question of philosophy. What is reality? This ultimate question. If you want one question in philosophy, what is reality? And from this question comes all questions. What is really real? That's the whole point. What is really real? That's the main question of philosophy. And from this comes, is this body real? Is there anything beyond body which is real? Is this material world real? If this is real, then there has to be reality beyond this reality. Is there any reality beyond this reality? Am I right? So this is the ultimate question of philosophy. What is really real? So that is Vijnanamaya consciousness. So philosophers are absorbed in all these questions of me, who am I, what is illusion, what is reality, what is happiness, what is sorrow. They want to understand all these things. This is Vijnanamaya. So these are 4 levels of bodily concept of life. And the 5th level, which is Anandamaya consciousness, that is not bodily concept of life. That is transcendental consciousness, which is beyond these levels. At this level, person is not interested in food. He's not interested in survival instincts. He's not interested in knowledge of this material world of any kind. He's He is not interested in mental speculations, philosophical speculations. What is reality? Was illusion? Who am I? Yeah, these are questions, but which can be solved. But these questions have to be solved to get interested in God. Otherwise, these questions are nonsense. Right? So, Anandmaya consciousness person is interested in God and not also in these questions, not also in philosophy per se. Philosophy should lead to God. Otherwise, it's speculation, right? So, that's the whole point. So, Anandmaya consciousness, transcendental consciousness. So, these 4 levels are bodily concept of life. Now you understand what bodily concept of life. Now we understand what's bodily concept of life. Anamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, or Gyanmaya, and Vijnanmaya consciousness. This is called, if you're interested in any of these 4 levels, then you are in bodily concept of life. Simple. Simple. Now you understand what's bodily concept of life. Okay. So now we come to this verse. You will understand what Jada Bharat is saying. Jada Bharat is a philosopher. He's not a fool. Because he remembers his past life. Bharat Maharaj, he read everything, and he, of course, he might have also read scriptures, so he knows all these things. So he's giving simple examples. He's not naming Annamaya, Jnanmaya, Manomaya, but he's giving examples. Now you will understand this verse. Text 10. Now you come. 5.10.10. 5th canto, 10th verse. 10th chapter, 10th verse. What Jada Bharat is saying. Now you can understand. Okay, so here's a verse they are sharing. Okay, can you show the verse? Sanskrit verse. Okay, this verse. So now you will understand what's happening. Jada Bharat is saying, I'm not interested in stholyam karshayam. I'm not interested in fatness or skinniness. Now what is this? Annamaya consciousness, am I right? He's saying, I'm not interested in my consciousness. He's giving example. Fatness, skinniness, which is related to food. Or vyadhaya, adhaya. I'm not interested even in the pains of this body, in the pains of this mind, diseases of this body. So what is this? Diseases of I'm not interested to relieve the disease of this consciousness. This is what? Pranamaya consciousness. Pranamaya, because we are having fear of disease, am I right? Then he's saying, I'm not interested in hunger. This is what? Annamaya consciousness. I'm not interested in Annamaya. Hunger is example of Annamaya consciousness. I'm not interested. And then he comes to, I'm not interested in Bhayam and Kali. Fear and Bhaya means fear, Kali means violence. I'm not interested in Bhayam and Kali. What is this? Pranamaya consciousness. Simple. I'm not interested in Pranamaya consciousness. This nonsense. Okay. I'm not interested in Ichha. Desire. This is what? Jnana. I'm not interested in Jnana, Manomaya consciousness. I'm not interested in Jara. Jara means what? Old age. And Nidra. Nidra means sleep. And Rati. Rati means basically Rati means sex also. Rati. So I'm not interested in old age, sleep, and sex. What is this? This is you can say Pranamaya, or mostly Pranamaya. Sleep, old age, sex. I'm not interested. So I'm not interested to actually free myself from old age. It's a part of life. I'm not interested to actually. So I'm not interested in sleep, and neither I'm interested in sex. So this is all Pranamaya, or you can say Annamaya. It's like mixed. Okay, and then he says, I'm not interested in Aham. Aham means self. The concept of self. So what is this? Vijnanmaya consciousness. Mada means illusion. I'm not interested in understanding illusion and reality. And Sucha means sorrow. I'm not interested in understanding sorrow and happiness. I'm not interested in all these things. This is Vijnanmaya consciousness. I'm not interested in either of this. What am I interested? Why? Because dehena jatasya. Because all these levels of consciousness are produced from dehena, bodily concept of life. Jatasya means born, dehena means body. All these concepts are born of body. Everything is related to body. And to be interested in anything related to body is called as bodily concept of life. And why I'm not interested? He me na santi. Na santi. Because I think this is not reality. They don't exist. Na santi. So na santi can also be interpreted like that. Does not exist. Does not exist. Na santi. This is not reality. That's why I'm not interested. This is not reality. Am I? Simple. So now you can understand this verse. But Jada Bharat is not Jada. He's quite intelligent person. Within Jada Bharat means, so generally you say Jadamati, isn't it? He's a fool. But Jada here doesn't mean fool. So in dictionary, one of the meanings of Jada is foolishness, fool. But that meaning is not there. Here Jada means inert. Inert means not interested in anything which is related to this body. That then you can go to transcendental consciousness. So we have to be careful. If we are interested in any of these things, if we are anywhere in these four platforms of consciousness, then we will not be able to advance in Krishna consciousness properly. We will not be able to reach Anandamaya stage. We'll be stuck up here. Now, having said that, it's not easy to get above bodily concept of life. It's not easy. It's almost impossible without the mercy of Krishna. By our own endeavor, it's impossible to get above it, because most of us are into these four levels. Am I right? Somewhere or the other, we are in four levels. Okay. Tell me one more thing. Can you give one example of pranmaya consciousness? So one of the symptoms of pranmaya consciousness. So one is fight and flight. Okay. So they are either they are violence or fear. But in modern society, how do you recognize that a person is in pranmaya consciousness? In modern society, there's no snake, there's no dog, there is no lion, there's no. They're just staying in big skyscrapers, and there's nothing. So how do you recognize that? Okay, self-obsessed. Some person is saying self-obsessed. Well, you can say. But you know what?
Others,
What's that?
caring for others, like giving donations and giving food.
Okay. This is one example. So philanthropy is in pranmaya consciousness. People who are giving charity and all those, they are in pranmaya consciousness. You see, it's a bodily concept of life. That's why Prabhupada says charity and philanthropy is actually bodily concept of life, because either you survive yourself or you help others to survive. That's one thing. Either you cater to your survival reflex or you cater to other survival reflex. So it's all pranmaya consciousness. It's a very good example, philanthropy. That's why Prabhupada was not interested in philanthropic things. Okay. Another example of pranmaya consciousness is earning money. What is fear? If an animal comes, either you will fear or you will fight. In animal kingdom, in jungles, it is flight or fight. Am I right? But in modern society, you fight with money. You don't fight with hands. Am I right? If you are rich, you can suppress him, you can finish him. Or fly away or defend yourself. Fly means defend. Am I right? So how do you defend yourself? By money. You earn money and you feel secure. Am I right? That's all pranmaya consciousness. So people who are interested into earning money, they're all in pranmaya consciousness. People who are promoting all these motivational speeches, oh, you can earn money, you can become rich. It's all bodily concept of habit. It's all prana consciousness. It's all coming from flight and fight response. Defend. And that's why you see 4 regulated people who want to become rich. They're actually violating 4 regulated principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meditating, no gambling. Now, okay, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meditating, no gambling. So this gambling thing is coming from, you see, illicit sex and gambling. This is all coming from defense gambling. Prabhupada also writes as mental speculation. Prabhupada says 4th regulatory principle. It's like, so either you can gamble with money or you can gamble with your thoughts. Is right, that is right. We should do this, we should do that. It's all the same thing. So Prabhupada translates gambling as mental speculation also. Why we gamble? Why we do mental speculation? It is a strategy to defend ourselves. It's same animal reflex to defend ourselves. If somebody tells us something, we will think, okay, how to argue? What kind of anti-argument can I give? Our mind will start working. So that's basically defense. There's one animal, there's a snake, this is you. There's one thought, there's another thought. It's the same thing, fight. There's a fighting going on. So it's all so this is all violating 4 regulatory principles. That's all. Anyway, that's another story. So another point is, none of us is following 4 regulatory principles. That's why we are not advancing properly, because we don't understand what is 4 regulatory principles. We don't understand what is 4 regs. We think, okay, we might be following 4 regs in a very gross manner, but on a deeper level, we are not following. We are actually violating them. We're violating them. So gambling has to do with pranamaya consciousness. These 4 regulative principles are made to actually help us go beyond 4 stages of bodily concept of life. That's why there are 4 regulatory principles. There are 4 levels of bodily concept of life. Now you understand why there are 4, why they're not 5 and 6. So gambling is no gambling. No gambling will help us to go beyond pranamaya consciousness. Then is what? No. What's no meditating? No illicit sex? No intoxication. No meditating will help us to go beyond annamaya consciousness. Food. Everything is food. Animals also food. Everything is food. You see. So the grossest form of annamaya consciousness is meat eating. Am I right? So it will help us to go beyond that. Then comes what? Then comes no intoxication, no illicit sex. No illicit sex will help us to go beyond what? Manomaya consciousness, Jnanmaya consciousness, because that's all illicit sex. Illicit sex means Manomaya consciousness to do with desires, fulfilling desires. Ultimate desire is sex. So at least no illicit sex will actually cut Jnanmaya consciousness to a large level. You go beyond that, at least to a large level, because ultimate desire is sex. So you stop that. And then what's the last? No intoxication. No intoxication will help us to go beyond Vijnanmaya consciousness. You are intoxicated with ideas, not just ideas. And that's what happens. If you take wine, if you take all these things, you start thinking nonsense. Your mind is out of control. So these philosophers are all drunk. That it is said. It is said popularly in philosophy. It is said. Actually, I'm forgetting the real quote, but they say philosophers have all drunk the wine of knowledge. That's what they say. They drink the wine of knowledge. So they get intoxicated with all this knowledge and keep on speculating. So these 4 regs at least grossly help us to go beyond these 4 platform of bodily concept of life. That's why these are made. And then there are deeper meanings of these platforms. We have to, that's why I said, we have to understand what's the problem. And the problem in this verse, which Jada Bharat is raising, is bodily concept of life. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning. And Jada Bharat is trying to help us understand by examples, what do I mean by bodily concept of life? He's giving examples, but I have named the stages of what examples Jada Bharat is giving. Jada Bharat doesn't name the stages. He simply gives examples. So now we can see in ourselves, introspect where your interest is going, where your interest is going. Wherever your interest is going, there you are. Simple. If your interest is in Anmay, you are in Anmay, you are in food. If your interest is in fulfilling desires, you are in Jnanmay consciousness. I want to do this, I want to do that. If your interest is in money, you are in Pranmay consciousness. You have to see. If your interest is in Krishna and his service, you're in Ananda consciousness. That's all. But there is another scenario. If your interest is in both Krishna and this material world, then what? Then where you are? It's not as simple. It's not I am there. Most of us are in all 5 platforms as devotees. We're at all five levels of consciousness. We're interested in Krishna. We're in the spiritual world. So when you get up in the morning in Mangala Aarti, you're fresh. You're interested in Krishna. You're interested in holy name. When it becomes evening, then you get interested in this body, movies, novels, chit-chat, food, when you feel hungry. So you see whole day we are like wobbling from one platform to another platform to another platform to another platform. But Prabhupada says a liberated soul like Jada Bharat is absolutely not interested in any of these 4 levels of consciousness. He's simply fixed. Jada Bharat, Rishabh Dev and all these, they are fixed in Krishna and service like Srila Prabhupada. All these things. Their mind doesn't wobble here. But slowly by chanting holy names, and of course, you see chanting holy names is the ultimate method. But the whole point here is Jada Bharat is trying to help us understand the problem first. Otherwise, the solution will not work. It will work, but then it will take time. So if you understand the problem, you can scientifically approach the problem and then give a proper treatment. That's all. So that is what Sankhya philosophy is all about. Sankhya philosophy is all about understanding the problem at large. And then Bhakti gives a solution. Vedant gives a solution. Vedant also, so that's why Vedant philosophy uses the concept of Sankhya philosophy. So I told all this Panchkosh is given by the Rishi Panchikha. He's one of the Acharya of Sankhya. We use Sankhya system to understand the problem. Vedant philosophy uses Sankhya system to understand the problem and then gives a solution to that, which is Bhakti, Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada makes a point that Krishna consciousness will not work if you don't understand the problem. That Prabhupada makes a statement here, isn't it? Prabhupada makes a beautiful statement. Prabhupada makes a statement, when one is not affected by bodily conceptions, one can advance to the Lord's devotional service. The more we advance our freedom from bodily conception, the more we are fixed in devotional service. The more we are happy and peaceful. So Prabhupada says, if you want to advance in Krishna consciousness, you have to get beyond bodily concept of life. But how do we get beyond bodily concept of life if we don't understand ourselves? That's the whole point. Jada Bharat is trying to help us, make us understand. And that's what is happening in this whole verse. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. I'll stop. It's done.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. It's really such a clear about what is bodily concepts of life, and you have compared everything with 4 regulative principles. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And devotees, if anyone has any more questions for Prabhuji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna, Ruchira Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Danvat Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. This is Ruchi.
Yeah, I can understand it.
Prabhuji, I have one question that I actually missed the first part of the lecture, but as much I could get, I just want to know that if the body is diseased and you have the desire to do devotion, and also you are in the bodily concept of life, like you have no other desires, like, so how do we get out of that? Like, if your body is not allowing you, the diseases are
So
a hindrance.
well, we are not interested in disease there. We try to treat it, but we are not really interested in disease per se. We are not interested. If we try to treat it, if still it's not going off, then we have to live with it. That's all.
Right.
But but we can't spend the entire life and entire time treating the disease. So that's what ordinary people do. They get so obsessed about their disease that, okay, I have to take this, I have to take that. Then whole time they're researching and this and that. Okay, we try something. If it's not going, okay, fine, chant Hare Krishna and keep on trying, and that's all. It'll go off. So that's the whole point.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Deepika Keni Mataji, please go ahead with your question, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for today's class. Prabhuji, we know, like, when we use this word, the absolute truth, we say absolute truth is Krishna. So now, can you just define, like, if we have to explain to somebody else who's not really in the movement and they say, what do you mean by absolute truth? So how would it define?
Yeah.
And Prabhuji, sorry, and one more thing I wanted to ask you is that how you very nicely explained about this, you go beyond, like, no meeting means you're going, no meat eating means you're going beyond Annamaya Kosh. So all this, do you have any lecture, like, in detail where we can hear?
Well, the second question I'll answer first. There's no lecture on this. I don't think so. I just spoke it. I think there is one lecture. Okay, so we'll send you the link of that lecture. Okay, anyway, so we'll paste the link just now.
Okay, in that chat, yeah.
The lecture. Yeah, in the chat we will paste. Okay, so the first question is, what is absolute truth? Now, if you have to explain it to non-devotee, that's the question. Okay, so we have to tell them Satyam Param Dhimahi. This comes in the first verse of Bhagavatam, absolute truth. Now, we generally don't say God because the conception of God is incomplete, as Prabhupada explains. We say absolute truth because we want to understand, because philosophy starts, you have to explain, philosophy starts with this question: what is truth and what is false? And that's what I told. Philosophy starts with this question: what is really real? That's what philosophers are doing. We want to understand what is truth, what is real. So that's what is philosophy all about. So now, reality or truth, it's the same thing. What is true, what is false? So so if you ask anybody, your neighbor or any person in this world, if you ask, okay, are you interested to know the truth? He will say, yeah, I want to know the truth. Truth of the matter, truth of the place, truth of life. That's what we are trying to search for. Now, what is absolute truth is, but there are many levels of truth. There is something called as relative truth. Now, in this material world, there is truth. We speak true, and then there are lies. But that's all relative, because sometimes true things becomes false in some other circumstances. Like for example, we say, okay, this is a nice boy. Now somebody will ask us, are you speaking true? Is it true? Yeah, it's true. He's a nice boy. But then, so why he's a nice boy? Because he's nice. He behaves nice, and this is truth. But at the same time, when this nice boy is with his girlfriend, then he's not nice. He's doing something nonsense. So this is a relative truth. He's a nice boy. Without his girlfriend, he's nice in all circumstances. But with his girlfriend, he's nonsense. He goes out of control. So his niceness is gone. So his being nice is actually relative to time, place, circumstance. All right. It's not absolute. It's not always applicable. Or maybe he's nice now, but after 10 years, he's not nice. Then what do? He's a nice boy. He's a nice boy now. You have to add now. You have to add time. You can't say he's a nice boy. That's not an eternal statement. So that's the whole point there. So this is called as relative truth. Truth in this material world is very relative. It depends on time, place, and circumstance. Things change. Things change. So the values of people, values of things keep on changing. But then there is absolute truth, which never changes. The concepts, the statements will never change, and they're applicable eternally. That's absolute truth. Like, I am soul. That doesn't depend on time. So it's not that I am soul now, and after 10 years, I'm not soul. No, it's not like that. God is this, God is Krishna. That is absolute truth. Or this material world is full of sorrows. That is absolute truth. That will never change. So the statements of scriptures is absolute truth. Devotion is absolute truth because that never change. Our soul wants to serve God. This is absolute truth. So we are interested in absolute truth. We are not interested in relative truth. And when in absolute truth, all these questions comes: God, living entity, devotion, all these subjects which will never change. And that is what we call as Sanatan Dharma. Eternal questions and eternal answers, which will never change. So that's why Bhagavatam says we are interested to know absolute truth. Absolute truth will include all questions. If you say only God, that doesn't include the question of soul, devotion, and this material world, this full of sorrows, it doesn't include. But absolute truth includes everything. So that's what Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, that we have 5 subject matters. Introduction: Ishwar, Jeev, Kal, Prakriti, Karma. These 5 subject matters combine to form absolute truth. God, living entity, time, nature, this material world, and actions of living entities. So all these combine to form absolute truth. This is, to understand these 5 subjects is absolute truth, because these will never change like this. Other things are all right. So that's why this is how we explain a non-devotee.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very well explained. Eternally indebted.
Prabhuji, there's one question in chat, Prabhuji, from Vivek Prabhuji. Does Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha also come under bodily consciousness or 4 koshas?
Yeah. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, they're all in 4 koshas. Yeah. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, yeah. They're all in 4 koshas. Because you see this, this is like Artha is Annamaya. Artha. And then is what? Then is Pranmaya. No, Pranmaya is not. Pranmaya is, how do you do that? Pranmaya probably is, I don't know. What's Pranmaya? Pranmaya probably is Dharma, maybe. Manomaya is Kama, and Moksha is Vijnana. Like this, it's all mixed, but grossly there's 4 things and 4 koshas like that. So Artha is, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, but all these comes in 4 levels of consciousness. Like
Thank
only
you.
Bhakti is Anandamaya. Bhakti is beyond these 4 koshas.
Prabhuji, next is Lalitangi Mataji has a question. As stated in the Taittiriya Upanishad, 2.5, Brahma Pucham Pratishta, there is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. This is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. Then in Pranamaya, after realizing the Supreme Absolute Truth in food, one can realize the Absolute Truth in the living symptoms or life forms. In Gnanamaya, realization extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, in which the living entity, mind, and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next and supreme stage is Anandamaya, realization of all blissful nature. Thus, there are 5 stages of Brahman realization, which are called Brahma Pucham. Out of these, the first 3, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Gnanamaya, involve the fields of activities of the living entities. Transcendental to all these fields of activities is the Supreme Lord, who is called. In Bhagavad Gita 13.5, can you explain Gnanamaya and Vijnanamaya in relation to this explanation? Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji.
I explained, no? I mean to say, Srila Prabhupada says, Annamaya, Manumaya, and Jnanmaya are all bodily concept of life. And then comes Vijnanmaya. Prabhupada takes Vijnanmaya sort of transcendental to bodily concept of life. But from bhakti perspective, we can understand that that is also bodily concept of life, because they are still mental speculating. So that's why we say Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti, Shabdate. So we say, so although Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti, Shabdate, that's concerned with features of God, but at the same time we say all these Brahmanvadis, they are mental speculators, ultimately, from a higher perspective, from absolute truth. So in that sense, Vijnanmaya also comes in bodily concept of life, as far as we are concerned, from a bhakti perspective, from pure devotional perspective. And then comes Anandamaya, which is really transcendental platform. So, I didn't really understand the question, but if it answers the question.
I think Mataji wants to know in related with the 13.5 sloka, 13th chapter, 5th sloka in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, so but then what's the question? 13.5.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, first of all, for the wonderful class. And this is so nice. Whenever I read this purport, I just memorized it. I never understood what it is. So this now little bit, it makes sense. So my question here is, in 13.5, he says that, in Jnanamaya, realization extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. So I couldn't understand.
Okay. So you see, Jnanamaya consciousness is thinking, feeling, willing. So Jnanamaya consciousness is also called Manomaya. That's why, because the functions of mind is thinking, feeling, willing. So the person is so at this stage, a person is absorbed in his own thoughts, his own feelings, and his own will. So in other words, thinking, feeling, willing forms a desire. That's what Prabhupada also says in Srimad Bhagavatam. Many times Prabhupada said, what is desire? Desire is made of thinking, feeling, and willing. When we desire something, we think something, and then we feel it, because without feeling, that's not a desire. Without feeling, that's simply some thought. And then we want to do it. So there's also component. There's also component of will, of intention to do it. So all these three mix to form a desire. That's what is called desire. I have a desire to drink coffee. So that desire contains my thoughts, my feelings, because I'm interested in that, and also what I intend to do. So I want to buy it, I want to buy it from where, and all these things. So that's what we defined as Gyanmaya consciousness. Person is interested to fulfill his own desires. And Prabhupada explains in this thinking, feeling, willing. He breaks desire into thinking, feeling, willing. So either we can say in Gyanmaya, Manomaya consciousness, person is interested to fulfill his desires, Ichha, or we can say person in Gyanmaya consciousness, person interested into thinking, feeling, and willing. It's the same thing. Now, this is about Gyanmaya consciousness. Now, with Gyanmaya consciousness, person is interested into, person is beyond life symptoms. What is this shown?
Yeah, there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself.
Okay, yeah, so that's what we said. Vijnanamaya are like philosophers who are not interested in Manomaya or Jnanamaya. That means they're not interested into mind or desires, fulfill their desires. They're not even interested in Pranamaya consciousness, life symptoms to survive. They're not interested in that. For philosophers, okay, well, I mean to say, I might die or I might live, but I will do my philosophy. They're interested in the philosophy, so they don't really care about that. They get food or no food, it doesn't matter. Most of the philosophers, so you see most of these philosophers, Nietzsche and all these people, they're just like disarrayed. They don't know when food is coming because they're absorbed in knowledge. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. That they are in which living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from living entity himself. These philosophers are not interested to understand oneself. That's what I said. Aham. That's what Jada Bharat is saying. They're interested to understand aham, mada, illusion and reality. So that's what Prabhupada says. They distinguish mind and prana from soul. At least philosophers reach to this platform, and that is called Brahman realization. So most of the philosophers, so even Western philosophers, so I'm not talking about atheistic, but theistic philosophers, they come to a conclusion, we are not this mind and we are not this life symptoms. So life is not for survival and life is not for fulfilling desires. Life is for something else. Atheistic philosophers, they don't accept soul, but they deny life symptoms and mind. They say, well, this is not it, but what is it that we don't know? Those are atheistic philosophers, and then most of them go into sucha that Jada Bharat uses. Aham, they understand I am different from all these. Madha, they understand everything is illusion. But then they go into sucha, they go into sorrow and unhappiness because they don't understand what's reality. They've understood what's wrong, but they don't know what's right because they're atheistic, because there's no God. So they go into sorrow. So this is one. I mean to say, if you really go into depth of this verse of what Jada Bharat is saying, there are so many points I can bring up if you go in piecemeal. But anyway, so this is what is Vijnanamaya consciousness. They are not interested into life symptoms or survival. They are interested into mind or fulfilling desires. They are interested into knowledge and understanding what is reality. That's pretty much Vijnana. But they don't know, but they're not interested in God because they're interested into reality in very abstract terms. A me and this word and that, and then they're speculating about God. They don't have any information about God. That is Vijnana. This is what they're saying. So most of these are Brahman realized people. They understand I'm soul, I'm not this body. But then Prabhupada says Brahman realization people, they are simply speculating because they don't accept Krishna as God. So that's why they are also involved in the concept of God. Like that.
Wow, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now I understand why you put Manomaya and Jnanamaya in one category. And if you see this purport, Prabhupada didn't talk about Manomaya because it's almost like Jnanamaya. And Brahman and Anandamaya is different. Yeah, and it also makes sense what he says in the Vitaraga Bhayakrodha purport that because of Shunyavadi, they get frustrated with so many ideas, and ultimately they get frustrated and they think everything is void, and that's the reason for their sorrow.
Yeah, right.
Now that purport also makes sense. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. so much thoughts to think about and introspect. And in reality, I feel that, I mean, at least I am in Annamaya, in quotes, Prasadam Maya. Just that
all of us are like that. All of us are like that, you know.
I mean, if Prasadam doesn't come, nothing works. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this very enlightening.
So by the way, so you're still in Canada or what?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, we are in Toronto.
Okay, Toronto. Fine. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your very consistent association. Your classes are always like taking one step higher.
Yeah, one step higher and one step sometimes off also. Isn't it?
But we always take what is, I mean, something that goes beyond our head, but whatever we could catch, we can put that as a goal and try to work towards that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
And yeah, anyway, thank you for listening also.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Lalitangi Mataji, for such a wonderful question. Shankar Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question, Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, whenever I hear a lecture, it's just, chain reaction of thought starts in my mind. And whenever I, settle down with some conception and you bring one more point, and I again, chain reaction starts, so it really helps me at least to focus in my devotional service, that I can focus my mind at least on your lectures and questions, rather than, focusing somewhere else. So Prabhuji, I will try to, I have a lot of questions, but I try to summarize in just in one question, So Prabhuji, like you see those in bodily concepts, who comes down in this 4 questions that you were telling, So like we, as a devotee, we try to follow different rules and regulations, like etiquettes, dressing etiquettes, how we speak, how we talk, what we eat, So how all these etiquettes, which are directly related at the bodily level, will help us to bring out from this bodily conception, So from these 4 questions.
Yeah, you're right, because all these you see.
Yeah. So more we follow these rules and regulations very strictly, we get attached to rules and regulations, and a subtle level, we try to get engaged in these postures, in a subtle, very deep.
Yeah, you're right. You see the
though
point.
We are thinking that, we are coming out from this.
I understand your point. The whole idea is, I started the point, interest. That's where I started. The tendency of the soul is to get interested. We might be following etiquettes and rules, but we are not interested in that. That's very important. If you are interested in that, then you come in bodily concept of life. We are interested in Krishna and his service. We use these things to serve Krishna, and that's where interest is. Now the whole point is a difference between neophyte and advanced devotees. Neophyte is also following all rules and regulations strong. Advanced devotees also following all rules and regulations, all these etiquettes and dressing and all these things. But the difference is neophyte is interested in those rules, regulations also. His interest is divided, Krishna and that. And that's why he generally people fall in bodily concept of life. But for advanced devotees, interest is not in rules and regulations. His interest is not in etiquettes and all those, always following everything. His interest is to serve Krishna by using them. That's the whole point there. And that's why Rupa Goswami gave, after all rules and regulations, or so not after, but before giving all rules and regulations, Rupa Goswami says, before or after? Yeah, so he says, all these rules regulations is for what? Satatam smartyo Vishnu, Vismirtyo na jatu chit, sarve vidhi nishedasyo etay yoga kinkara. The highest tool is to always remember Krishna by following all these rules. Am I right? That's what he says. Now remembrance means interest. Here, Satatam smartyo Vishnu. So it's not that I'm just remembering something blank. It's remembering your lover. Krishna is a lover. We are lovers of Krishna. That's what is bhakti. So you're remembering your lover. So remembrance of a lover is with interest, of course. You can't remember your lover without interest. That's crazy. I'm remembering so your girlfriend calls you and she asks, what are you doing? I'm remembering you. So how? Without interest. She'll say nonsense, divorce or not divorce or get lost from. So that's why this Satatam Smartyo Vishnu, this Smaranam, although this remembrance, but this remembrance is interest. We understand because nectar of devotion is a devotional scripture. It's not a Jnani scripture. So automatically it's included in that. So the Rupa Goswami says all these rules, regulations is to develop interest in Krishna. That's not my philosophy. Otherwise, it's all waste. It's all waste. So you see the point. So we will not come in bodily concept of life by following all these things if we are interested in Krishna and his service. We use them. Now, how to do this? How to be only interested in service of Krishna and that and not be interested in this? That comes by time and practice and good hearing again and again. Otherwise, we'll fall trap into that bodily concept of life.
Thank you,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, do you have some more time? There are two more questions.
Yes, okay.
There's a question from Pratik Prabhuji. Prabhu, I have a question out of topic. How to effectively study Srila Prabhupada's books and other books? My question is not aimed on asking about what is the sequence of books for reading. Rather, I am asking how to effectively study so that I will be benefited more and I can preach nicely.
Well, you see, this topic is a very big topic. I've given seminars on that. But in one line, because of course I can speak in one line. So one-liner answer to this question is to effectively study Srila Prabhupada books, apply what Prabhupada is saying in your life. That's the best effective way to study the books of Srila Prabhupada. If you apply in your life or try to apply, of course, you'll not be able to apply 100%. But don't try to just cram things. Don't try to just make notes and put in systematic form, and then you can do all those things. The best way is to apply those instructions. And if you apply those instructions, then you will be able to also tell others how to apply them. And then it will benefit them. And to benefit somebody, that is called preaching. Preaching is not giving lecture. Preaching is not just giving lecture, make some points and that's not preaching. That is a talk. Preaching is to actually convey information which will produce transformation in their lives. Otherwise, what's the use? So how will your preaching bring transformation? Only when you have yourself applied. Otherwise, you'll not be able to explain them practically. You will say the same things, but you will not give a practical side to it because you have not applied it. So the best way to read Prabhupada books in one line is there are details, but please, this is one most important point which I follow. Try to apply every statement of Prabhupada in your life. Sometimes you might not even relate to Srila Prabhupada's statements. So in the sense, sometimes you might think this is a theoretical statement. This is not practical. How will I apply in my life? But every statement of Srila Prabhupada can be applied in life. For that, you have to think, you have to contemplate, and especially you have to figure out how to apply in your life because every life is different. Okay, so there is also a YouTube link. Okay, so we have sent a link in chat box. Seminar on how to read. This link I was in chat box. It was just written seminar on how to read. There's no link. Okay, seminar on how to read this. So do we have a link in that?
Yes, Prabhuji, we got it.
Yeah. So you can please refer to that seminar, and details will be there. But the most important point I have told you. I've just how to read. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And there are 2 more questions, Prabhuji. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. This question is from Pihu, Mataji or Prabhuji, I don't know. Today, all of us are engaged in some or the other profession to meet our basic necessities. So does that mean that it is holding us in Jnanamaya or Manomaya consciousness? Because we have our ideas, goals and desires. Is there any option where we can be in Anandamaya consciousness, although performing our professions? Is it wrong to aim for success in our fields?
Yeah, it is. To aim for success in our fields, that's of course, that is all Jnanamaya consciousness. And to be after money in your profession, that is all Pranamaya consciousness. It's all bodily concept of life. But at the same time, you might say, well, we have to do a profession. So we do our professions just to earn money, just to earn enough money so that we can practice Krishna consciousness. And that's it. That's it. Anything beyond that is bodily concept of life. So we don't want promotions, we don't want success, we don't want to earn a lot of money for future security. What's future? There's no future. So you may not even be living in future. You might be dead, after some time. So this is so future security. That's pranamaya consciousness. Fear what will happen in survival reflex. Future security, survival reflex. That's pranamaya consciousness. Success, your desires, and that. So that's all manomaya consciousness. So most of us are involved in this, and that's why we have to understand what are the stages. So profession, you have to do something in life to earn money, to sustain your body. That's at least that much you have to do. To eat, to live. But why to live? To do Krishna consciousness. And to be beyond this bodily concept of life. Why to live? So that you get interest in Krishna and his service and lose interest in everything else. So that's what Srimad Bhagavatam says. Kamasya naindriya priti labho jivete rabhata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yaschaya karmavi. Bhagavatam first canto, simple. Bhagavatam says, whatever you do in life, your profession, do it only for sustaining your life. That's all. That's all, to minimum level. And devote your life and time and all your desires to understand Krishna and serve Krishna very interested in. That is transcendental platform. Anything beyond that is bodily concept. We have to be clear. Many devotees may have different views on this, but my view is this. And in fact, Bhagavatam's view is this. Sukadeva Goswami's view, Jad Bharat's view, and I've explained to you these 4 stages. You can see we'll be fitting into this one or the other. So to get success, why to get success? Then we are interested in our professions. That's why we want success. Otherwise, why? Or to earn a lot of money, why we are interested in money? Something minimal, be satisfied and perfect your life. That's it. That's ultimate.
There's one question from Harshajindar Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is it only in Anandamaya consciousness that the 3 modes of nature don't work, right?
Yeah, right. All these 4 koshas beyond, they are all in 3 modes. Annamaya is in total mode of ignorance. Pranmaya and Jnanmaya, they are in mode of passion. And Vijnanmaya is mode of goodness. And Anandamaya is beyond modes, 3 modes, like that.
There's one more question from Pratik Chawla Prabhuji. What to say to a complete atheist? They think that all are just beliefs and themselves thus just involved in bhog.
Well, you can say, you can tell them that if all this is belief and it's not reality, then what is the symptom what is happening with them. Okay, let's see. If they are saying truth and we are saying belief, then what's happening with them? They are having frustration, anxieties, stress, isn't it? That's what everybody will say. At least they are not satisfied with their life. Even if they are happy, but they are not satisfied, nobody will say I'm satisfied. So that's happening with them. That they have to admit. That people admit, okay. But the question is why this is happening. So frustration, stress, anxiety, dissatisfaction, this all comes when you are out of touch with reality. If you are in touch with reality, then there's no question of frustration, anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. If you are in touch with reality, then Vedyam Vastavam Atra Shivadam, then there is all auspiciousness and satisfaction. That is how we know whether we are in touch with reality or illusion. That's a logic. So you can say, well, you have tried your own truth, and this is a consequence. Now try our belief and see what's the consequence. So Srila Prabhupada said this beautifully. So one reporter came and he said, Srila Prabhupada, at the end of life, if you come to know there's no Krishna, then you have wasted your life. Prabhupada says, well, even if there's no Krishna, we are so happy. We get up early in the morning, we dance in the Aarti, then we take nice prasadam, then we discuss nicely, and then we in the evening also we dance, and then we joke, and then we sleep. That's all. If there's no Krishna, still be happy. But if there is Krishna, then you are in a problem. So that's the whole point. Even if they think it is a belief, okay, let's assume it's a belief. But at the same time, the consequence is good. We are happy. We are satisfied. We are free of anxieties and stress. Who doesn't want a life like that? Simple. But at the same time, if it was only a belief, then it would not have led to complete satisfaction. Complete satisfaction can only come in reality. So just like, so sometimes we go for a tour and we go to hotels and this, and we go to Switzerland, America, this, and we roam and we are staying in hotels and this and this. So we become so happy. But at the same time, after this whole tour of 2 months, we come back to a home and then we say, oh, now I am satisfied. My bed, my room, my kitchen. Because that's where we belong to, isn't it? So you become satisfied, you become happy when you are in a situation where you belong to. If you're in an unnatural situation, then you become stressed and frustrated and anxiety. So you can see, you can tell them you are frustrated, anxiety, so you're in an unnatural position. We are happy, we're satisfied, we are in a natural position. So what is truth? What is belief? It seems yours is a belief and ours is a truth. Like that you can explain. One perspective to explain like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a nice explanation. Are there any more questions for Prabhuji? I think there are no more questions, Prabhuji. I think it's already 9. We can end up maybe. Yeah, thank you so much, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhuji, for posting links on time on chat. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your very valuable time and class today. Mataji, do you want to talk, Mataji, please?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the class and very nice discussion, very nice.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Dear devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpa taru. Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Grandfather Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, His Grace Keshavanand Prabhu ji ki Jai.